Hey Virgos, welcome and welcome back to the Uneasy Star Tarot and welcome to Mother's Day weekend. This is going to be our weekend read from May 9th through May 11th. Before we get started though, I just want to say thank you guys to each and every one of you for all the ways that you lift this channel up and all the ways you lift each other up. Truly, you make me melt, you make me feel so blessed, and I love you back. So, to get us started with the tarot, as we walk into the weekend on May 9th, we have the moon in Libra. So it's all about balance, beauty, and cooperation. But this is a day where the cosmos are asking you to step outside of your comfort zone and embrace the new unconventional ideas, fresh opportunities, new starts, stimulating connections and collaborations, as well as new projects that align to your long-term goals. And this is the time to trust. You are indeed on the right path and you are supported. This is where not only are you supported by the universe, by your ancestors, but also you are supported with love on this channel. I'm just saying. And with the tarot as we walk in, I mean, oh my goodness, and at the bottom of the deck, I can't resist. Holy cow. Okay, so right away, we have the Magician. This is where you are manifesting, you're utilizing your resources, you're focused, and you're headed in the right direction. You're tapping into your unlimited potential, and you're utilizing your expertise, your mastery of all the elements, of all the resources around you, and with your connection with the divine, following your intuition, connecting with your crown, and dreaming as big as the universe, but bringing it into the 5D. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because on the 10th, the moon, which is in Libra again, is also going to be trine with Jupiter, which is in Gemini. And for Virgos, this is a period of heightened emotional connections. Optimism surrounds you and it expands within you, particularly when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your life path and to your hard work. And this is where rewards are manifesting. Rewards are coming in, particularly in the account where it comes to financial gain. This is where also too, patience is necessary. You're headed in the right direction. Everything is ready. Everything is coming together. Just watch it unfold. This is the time where its breakthroughs start to happen. Breakthroughs start to be witnessed. And with this transit, it not only expands within you that optimism, but you create what you think. And so this is a time to absolutely be mindful of the idea and the premise that what you think about, you bring about. And so you create what you think, and that is where your true opportunities start manifesting. It's through those positive energies. With that Ace of Cups, this speaks about celebrations, fertilities, new relationships, joy, new opportunities, whether it be in love or in career and finances. And again, this is the arrival of prosperity. This is where you are headed towards your success with triumph, and it's towards and due to the fact that you have now become, after you've cultivated your fruits of labor, you are now coming into that point of success where you're harvesting your fruits of labor and you're coming into that personal satisfaction. You're feeling and seeing those rewards and experiencing those rewards. And with this transit, it brings that balance and harmony as well as a little bit of luck on your side when it comes to relationships, communication, and also intellectual pursuit. Now, word of caution, be mindful of potentially being over-optimistic. Sometimes with such positive energies, it's like we feel like we can conquer the world, right? It's important to remember to remain grounded during this time so that you can avoid being overly optimistic in what you're committing to. And thus, basically overcommitting yourself, especially in social situations, without necessarily recognizing or really taking into account those practical steps that it really takes, how much energy it's going to take, right? And so this is the time to really walk forward with that joy, walk forward with that balance, that harmony, and that luck. But also, too, remain grounded in the practical steps that maximize the benefits of this energy in this transit. And if that resonates, by all means, share your thoughts in the comments below, because what I see here that just flew out is the Page of Cups in 50-50. So with the Page of Cups, basically on one side, it really speaks to that emotional focus, really envisioning through your creativity, creating in that artistic environment, as well as following your intuition. Having that heightened sensitivity that allows you to really tap in, not only with reading people, with reading the energy, but also with what you're manifesting, with tapping in on that opportunistic way that allows you to really be in the flow and to know to take steps at certain times so that success is ensured, right? So that you don't get out of sync. On the other side, it really speaks to the unrealistic or irresponsible and impulsive naivety that leads to a lack of creativity or emotional instability or potentially even bad news, right? And so the way that I look at it, what comes to mind is like when you're baking a cake, right? You want to make sure that you're really, or even cookies, you want to make sure that you're really creaming the butter appropriately and not overdoing it, right? Following that flow. And then adding your dry ingredients after they're mixed together. That way you get everything evened out. So it's not like a mud cookie or, as I would put it, like sedimentary rock when the universe actually makes cookies. When you're talking about, I'm a geology nerd, I'm just saying. But what this speaks to instead is basically looking at the timing of everything, getting into the flow and adding the right ingredients at the right time after you've put the TLC and the finesse into them that really brings out their best harmonies, their best components. And so this is the time to really focus on those practical steps when you're maximizing the benefits of this transit energy so that you can tap into that balance, tap into that harmonious flow, and then also sprinkle it with a little bit of love and luck. Just saying. And that's all walking into this wonderful day this weekend of Mother's Day. So on the 11th, with Mother's Day, especially for Virgos, it's all about celebrating the profound gifts of the practical daily nurturing aspects, the daily beauty that comes from the gifts of raising a family. You know, this is where detaching from the disappointment, the disillusionment, but instead taking action, seeking higher meaning and wisdom in those daily actions of Mother's Day, right? And so what I look at it, what speaks to me is the ideas of, you know, if helplessness happens, if hardship happens in a family, say, health is wealth, right? So say when you're raising a little guy or a little gal and they tumble and they get a bruise, having them run to you for comfort, the gift of being able to soothe their wounds, to be able to care for them and lead towards that resilience, help them get back up one more time. Or two, the gift of when you're not feeling your best or you're just super tired and all of a sudden you get woken up by the most bright, brilliant smile that brings tears to your eyes. That's the new cycle, the challenge and the shift in all of those hardships that let you step up to the plate and grow alongside your kids, the gifts of the day-to-day nurture that Mother's Day is all about. And this is really where it brings us and helps us appreciate that emotional intimacy and intensity, And so this is also where on the 11th, Mercury is going to be moving into Taurus. The moon is also going to be moving into Scorpio during this time. And to top it off, the moon is opposition, or has opposition, I don't know why I can't talk, with Mercury during this time, while also being square with Pluto. Pluto is in Aquarius. It'll be there for a while, just to also bring that in as well. And so this brings an emotional intensity that can lead to deeper connections while potentially also clashing with your practical approach and your grounding. And so particularly when it comes to that, you may find this challenge or this transit challenging where it brings this surge of emotion. It brings the tears to your eyes right in those beautiful moments. But it also leads to the feeling of being push and pull, basically, being led in many different directions, needing to multitask, not necessarily knowing where to put your energy or where to direct your energy. It also can be a perfect opportunity for a catalyst to address any types of old wounds when it comes to the inner child within all of us, and approaching that through honesty, through resilience, and also giving it the TLC, can lead us to basically really solidifying that final healing process. It's kind of like where you're looking at, I've got kittens at home, or cats, so we always play. I always have these little marks on me from their love. But it's about, once everything's all healed, it's about really tending to that final healing process, like scar healing, right? Where you're putting that A&E ointment, you're utilizing your jojoba oils or even your coconut butters to really produce that finite healing that's needed, that brings love, passion, connections, partnerships together, right? Really that final balance, that final symmetry and harmony that integrates all the polarities. And so I know there's always the saying that's like scars make you look cool. Really what they are in my mind is they're your story. They're little marks like chapter beginnings that tell the story of your travels. This is where you're embracing that with your emotional healing, with healing that inner child through that honesty and through that resiliency. It basically finites that last healing piece of TLC that's needed, where you realize and have the acknowledgement, the breakthrough, that sometimes breakups are truly breakthroughs. And this is where that balance comes in. That's where you really appreciate the polarities, the reciprocities that come from new beginnings, but also the polarities that helped bring you to a point of resiliency, as well as to a point of wisdom within what you're looking for and putting it within your reach when it comes to your heart chakra. And if that resonates, by all means, share your thoughts, put a heart in the comments below, because this Mother's Day is all about embracing change, going with the flow, getting stronger through adaptability, and remembering that truly it's okay to stumble. Stumbling is all about part of the process, right? And I for anyone that resonates with as a mother or as a father, even whoever has that nurturing quality where you're a caretaker, a shepherd, and a steward, you're not going to get everything right? Just saying, as much as we would like to, hindsight's always 20/20, and sometimes there's things that happen of learning opportunities, note to selves, as I like to humorously call them, but really what they are is it's an acknowledgement that it's okay that you don't get everything right on the first try. Stumbling is part of the process. It helps you not only regain your balance, but it teaches you how to be light on your feet. It teaches you how to go with the flow and to also know what tricks and traps to avoid in the future, as well as how to walk mindfully and carefully going forward into the future as well. And so with the King of Swords, it's all about that 50-50 of balance, right? So you're harnessing the inner fires, you're harnessing that grounding from the Virgo in energy, but it also speaks to material pleasures and material wealth, prosperity. So it balances self-control, the steady and sure process of being dependable, of looking at business with a focus on security, being a provider with that focus on security. But then on the other side, it also is looking at where you put your priorities, right? Are you being too materialistic? Are there unproductive financial endeavors that you're pouring into that aren't necessarily giving you that balance, that symmetry, or being too stubborn to want to change, to want to embrace those new beginnings or refinements that allow more prosperity in, that open the door just a little bit wider, right? That let you carry that wisdom just a little bit further. And so, like I say, stumbling is always part of the process. Hindsight's 20/20. You're never going to get things right on the first try. And if you do, that's great. But will you learn from it as much as you would if you had a little bit of a hiccup in the beginning? Stumbling allows us to regain our balance as well as to learn how to be light on our feet, to learn how to skip the tricks and traps, and more importantly, embrace that emphasis on security. And like I say, if that resonates, share your thoughts, put a heart in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, because this Mother's Day, it is all about the daily nurture, the beauty that comes from raising a family, from nurturing what you grow. And it's also about embracing the balance, flowing through those emotions with control and grace, just like a swan does. And so during this time, especially with the moon being in Scorpio, square with Mars and Leo, It puts a strong passion behind our action. We can focus on care, not only on care for others, but also on self-care. Finding that balance so that we don't drain ourselves or put too much energy into one or the other, so that one bucket is empty and one bucket is full. And so you may feel very expressive, want to explore, as well as introspect on new ways to nurture yourself, on new ways to ensure your well-being and inner peace, so that you can walk steady and also know that you can walk steady while you're protected. This is the time to embrace that balance, flow through those emotions with control, but also it offers us a shift in our environment and or perspective, offering us that fresh start of that Ace of Cups, right? And with the Four of Cups here as well, this is where it's like you're looking at the past. You're looking too much at that hindsight 2020, what you could have done better, what you shouldn't have done, what you didn't do, right? And instead, there's this new cup. This is where the shift begins, not only in your environment, but with your perspective. It offers you that fresh start. And particularly with the moon being square with Mars, it offers you fresh starts when it comes to daily routines, goals, motivations, and careers. And it marks a turning point where your aspirations are ignited through increased energy and increased drive that lead towards balance. And like I say, it comes from the wisdom of those tricks and traps. It encourages us to tackle delayed projects, tackle deep truths, past betrayals that have resulted in trust issues, and instead allows us to dream with lofty thoughts and passion once again, to charge forward with our inspiration, to charge forward with our sensitivity, following our intuition, but leading with compassion, focusing on the importance of those emotions, not only of ourselves, but also with others, because that truly is what leads to that honesty, that resiliency. And again, this is where breakups are breakthroughs. Through that temperance, through that wisdom, that achieving that harmony, finding that internal balance, healing through anything that was hidden, right, or suppressed. This is where we're walking straight towards our strength, straight towards the energy of the sun, but also too straight towards our new beginning, our fresh start, and birthing something new, which leads to success. And as you can see with the sunflowers, it's all about following that intuition, connecting with that intuition and that inner guidance, that inner compass, just like a monarch does, right? When they take their great travel, which is profoundly amazing. I'm just saying, I mean, it's amazing the inner sonar that monarchs have. By following the daylight, they can trek all across from one side of the continent all the way down to the southern point. And it's beautiful. It's just amazing. But that is the strength truly of Mother's Day and of the square transit between the moon and Mars. Now, before we go, I do just want to look at some of our ancestor animal totems, see what additional guidance we can gain here. And right away, I mean, this is just beautiful. This is where you are stepping into your place of leadership through mastery. This is where, if you've been on a spiritual journey beyond the sky, it's time to let go of the past, break those chains, break free of those chains, and soar towards your breakthrough, because your wisdom is meant to be shared and it's meant to inspire the world. You've got something extremely great to share with your community, and your community supports you. Everything that you touch is blessed, and you are the queen or king of abundance. And so now is the time to be open and receive the sweetness that you helped cultivate, that you helped create, and that you helped lift up through your visions. With the draft, this is about rising above earthly matters, right? Gliding through life with grace, but also with acknowledging just how important leading with feeling is when you're on the right path. Now is the time to stand tall in your self-worth. Know that with your big heart comes a love that certainly surpasses any type of past wounding that you had endured, and instead sets you off on the adventure that allows you to sing your song, manifest your dreams, and attempt your journey with confidence. This is about standing in your power. Spirit really wants you to know that you are more powerful than you know, and your vibrancy shines. Now is the time to shine, because you were born to inspire. Also, this is the time to practice with humility to avoid jealousy, but be grateful for life, just like Mother's Day brings that nurturing humility, that nurturing gratitude that gives us every day with the practical beauty from raising a family, from stewarding things into life, right? To rising up to success and really, especially when it comes to mothering or looking at the meaning of Mother's Day, behind Mother's Day, and really appreciating it and celebrating it. Being a parent, being a steward, being a shepherd is one of the most important jobs that each and every one of us has, right? Whether it be mentorship, whether it be your own children, whether it even be mothering and nurturing through what you create in your creative expression, through work and career, or in your tribe, in your community. This is where we truly receive the gifts that allow us not only to grow, but we grow by seeing the success of what we cultivate. As they grow, as they succeed, as your children succeed. That is the true gift of successional planning, right? The true gift of brilliance and being true to ourselves, being grateful for life because we get to participate in it. We get to help shape, help mentor, help teach, and help share love to bring in more good, right? To share the energy and to transmute any negativity into the vibrancy of life, the gift of life. And if that resonates, by all means, like I say, share your thoughts, put a heart in the comments below. Before we go, though, I do also want to look at our major arcana, because this is an extremely powerful weekend, especially when it comes to new beginnings and emotional connections, collaborations, fresh opportunities, and breaths of fresh air. And so what we pulled here for music medicine is actually 2 Ds and a G sharp. And so try playing around with those notes, those chord progressions as you do your meditations. Particularly what I see as well is it really speaks to your crown as well as your heart chakra. This is about actively being supported as well as supporting others, right? Being a divine vessel of love, because love supersedes all negativity. It helps us transmute negativity and bring harmony and balance and luck to the side through optimism. Fun fact as well, what I thought was really interesting is the difference in perspectives, right, when you lead with the self. And so there was this, I was reading on it, and basically there was this kind of cognitive test that was a blind test, basically, and looking at how you talk to yourself, how what you create or what you think about, you bring about, really makes a difference. And so there was this test, basically a blind test, where people were given basically a book, a magazine that had a bunch of pictures in it that was going out for publication. And the test, or what was asked of these people, was basically count how many pictures are in this magazine or in this spread, so that that we know how many are going to be in this debut. Now, of course, there's a hidden piece to it, right? There's always a trick to these types of tests. And so I think it's like the 3rd or the 4th image in. On that image, it says there are 42 pictures in this magazine. And so for the ones that looked, true story, so for the ones that basically looked at their lives with optimism and really thought of themselves as truly being blessed and being lucky, they got to that 4th page. They started counting, right? They got to that 4th page, read there's 42 pictures, closed it right up and said, there's 42 pictures in here. And they trusted what they saw, right? For those that did not consider themselves lucky, did not consider themselves blessed, held hardships on their sleeves in how they made their decisions and how they really made and led their life and their life choices, went through the book page after page. They missed reading each and every picture, right? And instead they were just counting. They were counting the beans one at a time. And yes, absolutely, did they make mistakes? They also took longer, but most of them didn't get it right. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't believe the path of luck. And really, luck is about being an opportunist. It's about seeing those signs, reading those signs, tuning into those signs when they come to you, and really grabbing onto them and following them with faith, with trust. And if that resonates, by all means, share your thoughts in the comments below. Put a heart in the comments below, because what I'm seeing here is through that faith, through that trust, looking at the world with the optimism, the feeling and faith that you are blessed. Everything in the universe wants for you to succeed, right? That's all about that nurturing energy of Mother's Day. This is where you're connecting with the crown, you're connected with the energy of the universe, and also acknowledging that you're allowing yourself to step into those fool's shoes, to dream, and often learn to live a more inspired life by taking those risks, by opening your eyes to see the signs and follow your heart. And then color therapy wise as well, what we've got is oranges and indigos. And so try playing around with those colors, particularly on Mother's Day, especially as we celebrate the gifts that come from raising a family, from shepherding beauty, from bringing balance and harmony into what we mentor and what we steward and in what we cultivate through our creativity. And so I truly hope that this reading helps. I am sending all my love and light to you. Happy Mother's Day to all my mothers and sisters, and even happy early Father's Day to all of my divine masculines as well. Take care, and I will see you in the next reading.